Couple of weeks ago, we reviewed the Siren Gnarl. This little pistol is packed full of horsepower, not a mag and grip design, more of a conventional mid-body SMG magwell feed. Performance was outstanding and it really left a good impression on me. In a continuation of the review of this family of products, today we're gonna take a look at the Mauler, its front pump, adjustable power rating, bullpup cousin. Let's get into it. So I'd like to mention that Siren did send me the complete set of these blasters. I acquired them as samples, but I would like to iterate, these are my personal experiences and opinions. Of course, not one blaster is perfect for everybody, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna find pros and cons to just about everything out there. This particular review is not a recommendation to buy. It's more of my personal experience and who I think this product is catered to, who can benefit from it, who should probably stay away from it, and overall, if it has my personal approval or not. We're gonna go over the packaging, we're gonna do a little bit of unboxing, check out what comes with the unit, some minor assembly that may be required. Then we're gonna do a functional test in the form of some outdoor shooting, a chronograph reading, and ultimately my lasting thoughts. This thing has been making quite the buzz in the community due to its just sheer raw power, and we're gonna get into that demonstration later, but for now, let's get it out of these cardboard confines. All right, guys, clamshell opening, just like with our Gnarl model over there. This is a very nice carbon-oid blaster. I already am liking the form factor. Little warning in the front, do not fire at objects closer than 25 feet. I've never seen this kind of a warning on a blaster. It already gives foreshadowing that these guys are not playing around, and you kind of want to put your guard up a little extra when you're playing around people with this thing. 10-round magazine included, 10 rounds of their pink, blue, and yellow camo EPP darts. Loading similar to our other blaster. It is a bullpup design, just adds a little bit of extra spice to the flare. Install just like that, and then also remove, this time with your index as you're grabbing the mag. Some bullpups have the lever back here so that you depress with the thumb. With this one, I think it's a little bit more friendly for the way this blaster is designed. You just grab it with your index just like that. Energy canister, oid kind of design right here. Nice little simplified yet still sci-fi design. The blasters have a good weight to them. Didn't mention that with the Gnarl, but I do want to emphasize on that because this blaster feels anything but cheap. I don't have that creaking that you get with other kind of blasters. It's just really good build quality. This company went straight for the gold. They said, we're not going to be messing around. We're just going to come out and make the most powerful stock blasters in the world. And quite frankly, so far so good. Got a front sight that you could just slide on like that. Same, about 5 or 5.5 inches of Picatinny standard rail as we saw with the Gnarl. You also get the rear sight, which actually clips in to the back of the blaster like that. I really like how the rear has an open circle and the front has a circle within a circle, just like the Gnarl, but it just gives you that much more precision of aiming for those quick acquisition shots. I really like that. Actual paint right here on this orange little aesthetic piece in the front. Paint again on the Siren logo, paint on the Mauler logo. This entire white area here seems to be paint. Wow. It's almost like these guys were just hiding in the shadows, taking notes from all the pros and cons of all the dart companies that have existed for the last 3 decades. And they just said, let's just do everything that everybody did right and let's do nothing of what they did wrong. I'm seriously impressed so far. Just the aesthetics. We haven't even gotten to the functionality part and I'm liking this already. This blaster as well is compatible with the Worker Talon. Now the Siren 10-round mag is just a little bit more taller than the Worker Talon, but that does not affect fitment. As you can see right here, in like a breeze and out like a breeze as well. This blaster has a cool feature that I haven't seen in a blaster before. This blaster actually has a selector switch, which allows you to select 3 different power settings. And the way it does it is it changes the length of your prime. So if you prime it at the first position, your spring only goes so far and it's gonna exert only so much pressure on your plunger tube and produce a limited performance. Wow. That is a really good seal. I haven't even gotten to the best part yet. Moving the switch around is really easy. You can't slide it back simply with friction. So what you have to do is depress it on both sides and then you can move it to the next position. It is notched, so you can actually press, push, and then let go and it'll automatically seat itself in the next position. and then you could just prime it at the mid-level range, which is set right now. And then you get the idea. Obviously, the high power position would be here. When we get to our chrono testing later, we're gonna see exactly where these selectors put the power level of this blaster at. I hear this blaster is pretty insane at the full power level, but we're just gonna have to check that out for ourselves. Safety switch, just like the Gnarl, right here, very nice and flush, doesn't protrude or provide any kind of discomfort. It is fully mechanical, so you can't pull the trigger when it's activated. I can't wait to see what this thing can do. I can't wait to get to the performance portion of this review. All right, guys, got our Mauler with the lowest power setting. We're gonna start with that. Do have our 10 rounds fully inserted into our mag. We're gonna fire them all off and see how she does. Let's go. Oh, nice. Okay. It hit it, but just too low to collapse it. But man, this is the lowest power setting. That's pretty crazy. One thing I'd like to add before we switch over to the medium power setting on the Mauler, I like the choice of camo combination they went with this dart. They went with colors that are for the most part artificial. Now with the yellow, the end of the summer is creeping around the corner, so we do have a couple of yellow leaves from my trees on the ground. That gave me a little bit of a challenge, but this bright pink and this blue gave it away almost immediately when I was in that proximity of the dart. Dart sweeps should be fairly easy with this kind of dart. I do appreciate that they went with these vibrant artificial colors. I think they should definitely substitute this yellow with something like bright indigo or violet in the future to make them even that much more visible. With that said, let's switch to the medium power setting on the Mauler, see how she does. One thing I do have to say is that once you go over a certain power level, the shots become more erratic, and that's where reining it in with a SCAR would actually come into play. It's definitely still hitting that general area of attack with 40 feet. I really have no reason to jump it all the way to the max level. We're gonna do that for the chronograph, but you can already see that this blaster for the most part is pretty accurate for an out-of-the-box pro blaster, especially when on the lowest power setting, which is actually pretty remarkable. Cool how all of these tend to have their own personality. The Gnarl was compact, it had a set power level, it was a 5-round capacity blaster, it had a clear mag. The Mauler, in contrast, is a bullpup blaster with a unique feature of having 3 different power settings. I like how the mag is more of a smoke clear black rather than a full transparent. And although we're gonna review the motorized blink on the next video, it's worthy pointing out that that blaster's mag is a translucent green. So whether you have the full collection of these or just a couple of them, you'll always be able to know which mag belongs to which blaster just by looking at it. I just thought that was kind of cool. Besides that, I do appreciate that this blaster's grip is on the larger side. Of course, I have large hands, so that is comfortable to me, but this is where we get into that territory where this might be for a particular kind of player and maybe not desirable for others. I find the front pump grip a little bit small, but it's just big enough to allow my hand to get a good purchase on it. As far as the pump action, I do find it a little bit crunchy and a little bit hesitant. And this was displayed in all 3 power levels, so it's not exclusive to what kind of power you're running through the blaster. With my experience, this is something that can be overcome by lubricating certain internal pieces. But if you're the kind of blaster operator or consumer in general that doesn't like opening your blasters and fiddling around with the internals, that may or may not be a deal breaker. Obviously, with being around blasters as long as I have, this is a 2-minute maintenance that makes all the difference and will definitely improve the characteristics of the Prime. But other than that, I did find it interesting interesting that on the lower power levels, the blaster was accurate as opposed to higher levels. Now, this could be a cause of the characteristics of the dart being a solid EPP material. I did not get a chance to run the blaster with standard foam darts to see what kind of performance differences or variables it would have, perhaps in a future episode, since this is just a base review. But for the most part, the blaster is actually really overpowered, especially for the complete body length. This blaster is shorter than most professional blasters that are out there, like for example, a Mark 1.2. This is more along the lines of XYL unicorn length when you factor in the stock. It's pretty impressive that it can hit these numbers, especially going over 200. Over 150 on the lowest level is absolute bonkers. Unless you have some kind of a scar barrel solution in your future and you play standard competitive up to super stock games, I don't see a reason why this would bother you, since on the lower setting I was getting pretty acceptable accuracy. It's only when you start going upwards of the medium and high, the accuracy naturally starts to suffer at the cost of a lot of power. So unless your gameplay is adjusted for this kind of performance, those are some things you should look at. And now for the real shocking part of this review. This blaster, with all the muscle that it brings, is selling at Target for a price tag of $39.99. Now that's pretty good when you compare it to other blasters in its class, which start at least $10 to $20 over that. Black Fridays are on the corner. Sales only mean that this could only go down in price, and if it does hit certain sales, it'll be that much better of a deal. In the next video, we'll be reviewing the motorized Blink, which I am extremely excited to check out with you guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and let your friends know about the channel. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.